Okay, I'll try to make a quick tutorial on how to join the letters and make passages between them. I'm Danish, so is my program, but it's 3D Builder from Microsoft. It's free and it's quite easy to use. First, I'll select Add. Down here, it's probably Insert or something like that in English. And I'll add an object. I've got quite a few objects here because I've toyed around with it before, but I'll start by loading an object at the bottom, and I've selected where I've got my letters. So I'll just take the outside of the A. I'll leave everything as is and just say import. When that's done, you select whatever letters you want next. I'll just take an extra A, so I select the A and I'll make the Control C and Control V, and now it's multiplied. You can do that other ways too, but this is easy. In the background, I'm not sure if you can see them. I've got quite a few small squares and I use them to align the object. You can rotate it as well, you can scale it, but nothing of that is what I would do here. I'll just want to join the two. So I have the move selection and I'll take the sideways move and try to align them so they pretty much align. I don't want to move them up or down. I don't want to move them in any other direction for now if they align with the squares in the background, and these do. I try to get a nice overlap here because that's how I join the letters, and the bigger the overlap is, the stronger the join I get. So I try to get the overlapping to as close as to the inside as I possibly can. When that's done, these two parts are ready to be joined, so I'll just push Shift on my keyboard and select the other option as well. I'll go into Redigere, which probably translates into Edit, and I'll use a merge feature, Flit på dansk. This takes a minute or so, and you better wait because I'm not very good at video editing. And if I pause this program, it'll crash and I have to start over, so bear with me. When the two pieces have been joined, you want to make a hole between them. Ooh, and I discovered how to pause my recording. The please wait sign at the bottom has gone, and the two objects are now one and can be moved around. If I use my left click button, I can turn this all around and try to get a good view. I want to make a hole between the two for an LED strip, so I'll just go back to the insert, and this time I want to make a user-defined insert. That will give me the option of some sort of cube. I'm going in here and I want this to be probably, well, I'll select it, and I cannot do this because of, I really don't like this. Height, I can adjust. I'll take that to 15 millimeters. And I'm supposed to take the width as well, but I've got this problem here that I cannot select it because of the recording software. So I just minimized it a bit. I'll make this one, well, 15 millimeters as well. That will give me a 15 millimeter cube. And I'll just add that. Right now it's in a bad place. I really don't want it here, and I also want something a bit bigger. So I'll just make a Control C, Control V. So now I've got two squares. I'll select them both and I'll join them. So back to Edit and Merge. This block I want to raise a bit from the bottom because I don't want it interfering here. So I'll just raise it a bit, just a couple of millimeters. And you can follow your millimeters down here, how high it is. Now I'll just take it in where I want it. I can place it, I can rotate it as well, but I just want to make sure that I don't have any of my block protruding outside, because that would make a hole. I look in here, it looks quite nice. I can see that it's above the floor of the model. And this time in the edit, instead of the merge, I can make a subtract. So I'll subtract this one. Wait for a minute, and now I've got my hole. Okay, everything is like I want it to be here. So and I'll just move everything around till it's where I want it to be. I think I've moved this one up a bit, but if you move it, it'll like stick when it's at the right position. Now I've got my two A's and they are just around 170 millimeters wide, and that fits my printer. But what if I need to make something quite a bit bigger and it doesn't have it fitting my printer? Well, I'll just make four A's then. So I'll make Control C, Control V. Now I've got four A's. I'll align them at first to make sure that I've got the right height for them. This time I want them overlapping just as much, but I have this problem because I want to print these two A's separate from these two A's. So I'll need to make a cut here. Before I make the cut, I'll subtract my user-defined block here. So I'll just go in here and make 15 times 15 and add. Right now it's inside somewhere, so I'll have to move it outside. I'll make the Control C, Control V again, and use Shift to join the two pieces, edit and merge. I still want this block to be lifted just a little bit off the floor, and I want to put it inside and check that it's looking good. Oh, here I can see this one actually gets to the outside. I really don't want that. So I'll just take the arrow and push it inwards until the light blue color disappears and check on the outside. Everything's good. I'll do a subtract again here. And I've got a hole now between the two, but I have not joined these two A's with the other two A's. To join them and make a good surface here, I'll take these two A's and I'll copy them. Now I want to have the hole already in place, so I'll just copy this and make another one, and I'll put this one quite a bit away. Then I'll take this one, and because it's overlapping here, I want to subtract this one, and I'll get a nice shape on these, the first two A's. And when it's done subtracting, which will take a bit, so I'll just pause my recording. And after a bit of waiting, this part has been deleted, and I've now got this nice swoop or whatever it's called. And if I put take the other A now. I can move it in place, and I've now got two separate pieces that fit perfectly to each other and can be super glued at this point. And I've got holes between them so I can take my LED strip and take it all the way around. Last thing I would like to do with this one is make a couple of holes to mount a thing on the wall. So I'll go to the insert menu. I'll make a cylinder. This one's quite big, so I can't use that. So instead, I'll go and make a user defined and opt away from cube to a cylinder. I really wanted more round than this, but I also wanted quite a bit smaller. I'll make this what 2 mm radius, and that would be good enough for making holes. I'll add this one. I will take it outside, probably make a copy of it, and then I'll move this one inside, lower it a bit, and I'll want to subtract it. That will make one hole for a screw, and I'll make another hole for a screw. This one doesn't really matter that much because this one's not going to be used. I want to make one last thing as well. Other than screw holes, I want to be able to put power to the LED strips. So I'll take a user defined. I'll make a cylinder. This time I want to make it quite a bit nicer. I want this one to be 6 millimeters radius. That'll give me a 12 mm hole. And I gotta remember, I'm pretty sure this one's the one that will make everything quite a bit more round. And add. This one, I want to do a bit more with that. I'm selecting it. I'm choosing the rotate, and I have a side view, and I'll just flip this 90 degrees. I'll go back to the move tool, and now I can move it in place to where I want to put in my my wire for the LED strips. To me, that is always a good thing to get it. Well, put it inside, and let's have a look. When I put it inside here, I want it to be below the line here. And actually, I would like to have it as close to the bottom as possible. And then when I move the LED strip, I'll take that above so the wire doesn't make a shadow. But that would make this a very bad place because then the hole for the LED wire is not exactly in a nice place. So I'll just make this one, well, over here probably better. And I like to make it perpendicular, I think it's the right word, to the A. So I'll just rotate this a little bit, right about here. Oh, bit too much. Maybe just a bit less. And check that everything's looking right. It's above the floor. I think that's one where I want it. So I'll make my last subtraction, and now I've got a hole to put in my wire. Everything's ready now. So I'll just for a second delete this part. I will go to export this one or save as, and I'll save this one as not a 3MF but an STL file and give it whatever name it needs. Then I'll go back here. I'll make Control Z to regret the last thing I've done. I'll delete the other two A's, and then I'll make another save as. This way I've got everything saved as two separate files, and I can print them to fit my printer. Really hope this one helped you out. If not, feel free to comment and ask some questions.